Well, hello everyone. How are you feeling about the current announcement from the government? I wonder, are you feeling frustrated? Life is full of frustrations, isn't it? You make plans and they're hindered by one thing or another. We're hindered now by restrictions upon us. We might be hindered by financial measures, stresses upon us. We might be frustrated by sickness, health issues, lack of energy, feeling our age. Many frustrations come upon us. But I've been thinking recently that God has a habit of bringing frustrations upon his people, upon this world. We've seen it recently, haven't we, in the book of Daniel. God allowed his own people to be taken, ripped away from their own city, their own land. Or if they remained where they were, their life had been changed drastically. But God was in that. God had plans. God was bringing judgment at that time. We can go back to the very beginning. And that's what Paul says in Romans. He says in Romans 8 verse 20, that creation was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it. Back when Adam and Eve chose to disobey, God's judgment then was to bring frustration upon creation, that it would grow thorns and thistles, that Adam would work by the sweat of his brow, that Eve would give birth with immense pain, that there would be tension between the man and the wife in that union, frustrations throughout life. Adam and Eve were banished from the perfection and the beauty that God had created for them, and they had to go out away from that place and live a life of frustration. And then we see as history progresses, and yet it becomes increasingly evil until the point that God decides to wipe the world clean. And every single human being, apart from Adam, his 3 sons and their wives who enter the ark, their plans are completely frustrated, completely brought to an end. And God starts again with Noah, and his family. We carry on in Genesis and we get to the Tower of Babel. People making great plans. Let's build a tower. Let's build a city. Let's make a name for ourselves. And what does God do? He comes down and he frustrates them. How does he do that? He gives them different languages so they can't communicate. They must have been so frustrated. Imagine trying to tell each other what to do and they just can't understand. And so rather than making a name for themselves, they spread out across the face of the planet. Frustrations. And I think today we need to say, let's not get frustrated by our current circumstances, but again, it's trusting a God who is in control. I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but we have a God who is sovereign. I think it just shows that the Bible over and over and over tells us God is in control. God has his plans and his purposes. The world is in its greed, in its selfishness. Humanity is having devastating effects upon this world, and yet we're seeing how COVID and its restrictions is almost allowing the world to breathe again, to rejuvenate, to claw back. Maybe God's allowing COVID partly for that reason, but also I think supremely to tell us that we are finite human beings. It just takes a little virus to come along and quite possibly snuff us out, and if not snuff us out, to hinder our lives greatly. And to remind us that God is the one who provides for us. God is the one that we should seek. And Paul in Romans 8 is saying that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. Now, I wanted to say our present sufferings don't compare with the glory that will be revealed to us, that we will see when creation is restored, when the new heaven and the earth is made, and we're going to be part of that non-frustration world. But actually it doesn't say that that's going to be revealed to us. It says that the glory is going to be revealed in us. The glory is going to be in us. We're going to share the glory of Christ. We're going to have these glorious new resurrection bodies that will never get sick and never suffer from viruses and illnesses and age and death. And then Paul says that creation itself is going to be brought in to the freedom and the glory of the children of God. It's not that we get to enjoy the freedom and the glory of the new creation so much as creation gets to enjoy our freedom and glory that we have in Christ. God is going to bring the new creation into what he has given us now in the initial down payment, as it were. But one day we're going to receive the fullness, and creation's going to enjoy that with us. A non-frustration world. You know, ESV doesn't use the word frustration, it uses the word futility. And it's the same Greek word apparently that's used in Ecclesiastes when Solomon says everything is meaningless. A sense that this world is frustrating. It's futile. We try to get ahead, we try to make plans, we try to do things. And you know what? Often life just seems meaningless, futile. What is the point? Well, there's great point in life. It's to know God, that he is in control, that he sent his son into this broken, futile, suffering world, that we might have hope, true hope of the glory of God in us and in creation in the future. And that's what we have to hold on to. God's plans and God's purposes through the frustration of this world and this life. So hold on, folks. Look to God, trust him, and set your hope firmly on all that's to come.